I'm moving around a bit so that you can see what I'm doing with my picking hand and then with my fretting hand. So if you're an absolute beginner and you want to play a guitar, I tried for the first time in my life 52 years ago. Lasted for 2 weeks. I was 12 years old. Didn't last long. My fingers got too sore. At the age of 14, I watched all the boys in the school quadrangle in junior school or primary school, and I just knew it's what I want to do. Even at the age of 16, after playing for 2.5 years, I told my late mother that she asked me what I wanted to do. I had only 18 months of schooling left in high school, senior school. And I said to her, I want to play in a band. I was already playing in a band, just a garage band, and played for quite a few functions, for quite a few hundred people, and later a few thousand people, I'm very happy to say. Best days of my life. I was only 21 years old at the time. And age of 22, I gave up. I met the woman of my dreams, been married 41 years already in October. And I gave up music, and then I made a comeback, like serious comeback, at the age of 55. I'm now 64. Quit at 22. For 18 months I rejoined with the same guys in the last band I was in, and we played together for 18 months. And then I quit totally, and I pursued my career and later my business. Now I'm pursuing the guitar again, besotted by it. Now I want to share the joy that this instrument brings to me, and this is for absolute beginners. And if I'm going too slow for you, just fast forward. It's going to be a long video, but I've got so much to tell everybody. Now just quickly, please subscribe. I need the numbers, and please view as many of my videos. There's more than 1,300 now that I've put up, and 1,200 of those in the last 12 months. So if you want to learn a lot of theory in a very simple way, there's no beginning and no end to my videos. Just look at the titles that I've put up, and I think you'll figure out what's applicable for you at what stage of your development. I'm still sort of intermediate, you know, but I've learned a tremendous amount the last 5 years especially. The last 8 years I've been besotted by this instrument. I was playing in excess of 35 to 45 hours a week, and I still currently try to play at least 25 or 30 hours a week. Believe me, I'm up sometimes at in summer 5 o'clock in the morning. In winter I'm in degrees of -2. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, no central heating, just to get my hands on the guitar. So we're at 4 minutes now, so I should start getting into the lesson. So the first thing you want to do with the guitar, you want to know what you're dealing with, what it is. But the first thing you probably want to do is start strumming it. Now, you don't even need to know a chord to strum a guitar, because you can just mute the strings. You're going to build up a muscle memory in your forearm essentially. But most importantly, I need you to understand that the signal is actually coming from your brain. These are just the levers that make you be able to play this instrument and any other instrument for that matter. The music is coming out of your brain. Like a child, you've seen repeat the same pattern of what they want to accomplish. If you ever watch a little toddler, they repeat the same thing thousands of times and they get very frustrated. It's because our brains learn slower than what you actually think. So be patient with me. You really need to understand the dynamics you're dealing with here. Because to become a good guitarist, and believe me, 17,000 hours of playing and jamming later. And I've played in several groups, albeit the amateur groups of different levels though. And you'll see a lot of my jams online. I'm doing those jams for fun, for amusement, for entertainment, for myself. And I'm doing it for your pleasure around the world. And I've grown my channel to just short of 500 viewers in 11.5 months. And I'm very grateful for that. Thank you. But I'm going to teach you how to play this instrument. So I've got 1,200 videos you can look at with me jamming, and a lot of lessons. They're short lessons, 3, 4, 5 minutes, some of them, most of them. Maybe 10% of them go over 10 minutes. But this one's going to be a long one. So the first thing you want to be able to strum and get some muscle memory going into these levers of yours. So I'm going to teach you how to work out chords and everything in this lesson. I'm I'm going to give you a lot of information to really get you started, and you can replay the video and make notes for yourself and then re-look at it later, because I'm going to give you some serious information you can really use if you're a learner guitarist. Right, so we're just going to mute the strings and not even bother about chords, because you want to get the pattern. This is the pattern, a basic guitar strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'll put a chord to that, an A minor bar chord. Got it? Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now you can start putting little inflections on it. We sit on the edge of my bed when I was 14, and I had a friend who was 6 months more advanced on the guitar than me. The acoustic guitar, like this, we used to call them box guitars. Do this little inflection with your fretting hand. Note, I'm only doing down strums here. It's just another strumming pattern. So we used to play things like there we go. One of the first songs I learned to play, Proud Mary, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Okay, but this little intro again. You see that little inflection? Looking for a job in the city. So that's a little technique you can. Real 60s, early 70s. Yeah, I can't even remember the chords. I haven't played that song in 50 years. Okay, that's not the point. You've learned to strum the guitar now. Now we're going to start with the chords. Firstly, you need to be able to tune a guitar. So, the strings on a guitar is tuned in fourths. Now, I'm going to tell you about intervals in a moment, but fourths mean you got to know what the strings on the guitar are. So, you got an E and an A, a D, a G, a B, and an E string. Now, from that note to that note is an A to a D. Now, just trust me on this for now. It's known as a fourth interval, because if that's an A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, it's the fourth interval. Fourth interval of what? Fourth interval of the major scale. Okay, a major scale is equivalent to all the white notes on a piano. So you just go from between those two black ones that sit like that on the piano. The white note before that is the C note, if you didn't know that. Hit every white note, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You're back to where you started. You can assign numbers to those. In the late 50s in Nashville, they came up with a concept known as the National Numbering System. Remember that. They assign numbers to each note of the major scale. Played on one string, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Played the way guitarists would play it over three strings. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now I've taught you an important piece of information there. I've shown you how to play a major scale. You can also play it like this. 3 fingers per string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's in one octave. If I go down to this bottom E string, the high E string, then I'm playing it in the higher octave. There are 7 major notes, and when you get to the 8th one, you're repeating. So let's go. So we got to the C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So So you can hear the pitch is higher. It's known as an octave. So you've learned quite a few things now if you're a really beginner. So there's 7 notes in a major scale. And while I'm at it, let me just tell you, 1, 2, 3. The 3 is known as a major third. A 4, a fifth is known as a perfect fifth. So we got C, D, E, F, G. G is the perfect fifth of C. And while I'm at that, when you get into bar chords, a C to a G is 1 to a perfect fifth interval. It's known as a power chord, and you'll see rock groups using it. Okay, now I'm jumping ahead here, but you've now learned a power chord. Okay, back to the fourth intervals. An A to a D is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 intervals of a major scale. So it's known as a fourth. Therefore, the guitars tune in fourths. Except when you get between, that's a G note to a B note. G, A, B. Yep, that's a major third interval. Now, have I confused you? In other words, a guitar is tuning E string to A string in a fourth, A string to a D string in a fourth, but a G string to a B string is tuned in a major third interval. In other words, 1, 2, 3. That is a major interval. If you frame from C, C, D, E, a major third. While we're at the issue, and then the bottom 2 strings are tuned in fourths again. Now you've learned a lot now. You might have to write some of this down. But now, while we're talking about major third, 2, 3, 1, 2, major 3, 4, perfect fifth, 6, 7th, major 7th, 8. 8 is 1, because 1 plus 7 is in the next octave, is 8. Therefore, if I say to you 4 plus 7 is 11. Those are intervals in terms of the national numbering system. Remember this, because when you start playing, that's a B11, because I'm adding the 11th interval, or the 4th, 4 plus 7, because it's in the next octave. I'm really jumping the gun here for you. But later in your advancement, when you start soloing and playing jazz chords, and they're not often easy to play, I'll teach you how to name them. You know, when you get into all these sort of beautiful sounding chords. Okay, but that's where you can head. You can start playing accompaniment to Sting, who was ex-Police bass guitarist. Anyway, back to your lesson. 1, 2, major third interval. It's very important interval, the major third. Because listen how it sounds. 1, 2, 3. That has a happy sound. I am happy. Anyway, I'm just went to the 6th interval, because below the 3rd interval is the 6th. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going from 3 to 6. I am happy. Listen what I do when I drop the minor, from the major 3rd interval to the minor 3rd interval, or the flat 3rd. So you've got 2 names for when you reduce a 3rd interval by half a step, or half a tone if you're in the UK. Those are the terms for the frets. Those are half tones or half steps in the USA language. So now 1, 2, 3, major third, minor third. Listen what happens. I feel sad. That's the minor. So one day when you play an A bar chord, which won't be in too many weeks from now, happy birthday to you, or that's the major third. I'm just going to tell you that now. It's known as the 10th as well. 3 plus 7 is 10, because that's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that when you play that bar chord, that finger there, middle finger, whatever it's called, I don't know what you call it, that finger there is the major third. When you lift it, happy, sad, you play in the minor third interval. Now, happy birthday to you, or the time has come for us, Romeo and hear that? Happy and sad. There's a lot of concepts here I'm giving you at random, because to play guitar, there's no beginning and no end, because you're never going to ever master this thing. Whether you can clock up 150,000 hours in your lifetime, you'll be pretty good. If you're doing it in an applied way, you'll be pretty good after 30,000 hours. They say it takes something like 30,000 hours, by the way, to become a virtuoso. But those got to be very, very focused 30,000 hours. Now, an average person works about 1,600 to 1,700 hours a year. That's an average person. If you're a really hard worker, you work close to 2,000. You'll be, believe me, I did for 12 years of my career. Maybe possibly up to 20, because I founded my own business. Yeah, I became pretty good at what I do. But I've clocked up 17,000 hours of playing guitar, but more than half of that has just been having fun. So I've got a lot more to learn. So you can strum a guitar, and you can alternate those patterns to suit the song. I'm going to play out of this Pink Floyd song, Dogs. Can you hear that I'm changing the pattern to suit the mood of the song? And then what about Led Zeppelin's Rain Song? Not quite the down, down, up, down, up, down, up. But that's the basic pattern. Remember, I told you that. Now, you're learning a lot here now. By the way, that was a... that's a G5 chord, because you got your G there, you got your G there, and you got a D. Now, if you count from G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess what? I'm teaching you some advanced concepts now. You're playing a G5 chord. That finger there has just been placed for the next move. I'm playing that F sharp, which is the major 7th interval. The note below the root, because I'm playing in G major, is the major 7th. Now, if you're a beginner, I'm sure you like these sounds. I started off with Old Man. So you can go look up chord charts. That's what I'll urge you to do. Now you need to get some chords. And by the way, I told you up front, persevere. Don't be like me when I was 12 and quit after 2 weeks. So I complained my fingers were too sore. I spoke to a gentleman just on Thursday, and he was telling me he tried to play guitar, but he gave up because his fingers got too sore. He's in his mid-40s, I'd say. So, but he shouldn't have given up. Because once you get the calluses on your fingers, you won't feel a thing. In fact, you'll find that you'll play your guitar a lot lighter. You'll start dancing like a ballerina with your fingers across the fretboard when you start to get to know what to do. So what I was doing there, I was playing diminished notes of a diminished scale, and I don't expect you to know all this stuff, but a diminished scale plays it's a symmetrical scale that you play in every third note. You play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see what I'm saying? So what I did was, over the 6 strings, my starting points were on the A, D, and B string were there at the 4th fret, but on the E, D, and B string, and then on the A, G, and E string, I'm playing it from the 5th fret. But if I do it fast, it gets wacky. Hopefully, someone like the late Alan Holsworth would do a lot of that stuff. But and he's still influencing hundreds of millions of guitarists 50 years later, when he came up with some of these concepts. Much more out. But you're getting off the point here. These are things that you will learn about, but you've got some of the theory. You've got a lot of theory already, because I'm jumping around. So there's no beginning and no end. Right. So you go from an open string to those double dots, and that's your 12th fret, and that's where the octave ends, because there are 12 semitones or half tones in an octave, and then it goes on. And on an electric guitar, if it's got a long neck, you've got 22 frets, so you can get up to the D note, because an open E goes to an E, and if you can get to the 10 frets higher, you'll end up on a D note, because you can count. You can go count those things out, and you know the alphabet from C to G. And just on that, you've got C, C sharp, D, D sharp, or E flat. So when you're counting up a scale, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, or when you're coming down a scale from E to C, E, E flat, D, D flat, C. You go figure that out. Then you got, okay, so C, D, E. Now then it's F. F comes off the E's note, E sharp. It's F. F sharp or G, G flat. If you're coming down to F, G to F is G flat. You can call it either, but the traditional way of knowing these things is if you're going up, it's sharp. If you're coming down, it's flat. So we were on G, G sharp or A flat, coming back to G. Then we've got A, B flat or A sharp, B. You don't get a B sharp, it's a C. So from E to F and B to C, there is no sharp or flat. Just accept it. Now I've taught you the notes on one string. And as you get to know the different strings and those intervals I spoke about, 1 to 7, 1, sharp 1 or flat 2, 2, sharp 2 or flat 3, 4, there is no sharp 4 because it's an F in the C major scale, but you can call it F sharp. You can call it sharp 4, or you can call it flat 5, because 4, 5, 4, sharp 4, 5, 5, flat 5. Listen to this. Sinister, eh? You know why? A flat 5 or a sharp 4 in medieval times was known as the devil's note. In the 60s, with the blues and rock music, they called it the blues note. Because I'm going to show you one of the first scales you're going to solo in, the A minor pentatonic. Penta means 5 notes. A minor pentatonic scale, when you do start doing bluesy, eh? Okay. What was I doing there? Well, I've taught you the scale. So you do 1, flat 3, minor third, because we're playing A minor. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, back to the octave. By the way, that to that is an octave. Octave. Note, when I cross the G string, I got to add a fret because of, I taught you about the major and minor, the tuning of the guitar from fourths, except between the G and the B string. So the moment you cross the G string, you got to compensate. Then I'm in the G, and I'm playing a C note, and because I'm crossing the B string, excuse me. The moment I cross the B string, I've got to compensate by adding 1 fret. There's my octave. Okay, there's 3 spaces, not only 2 like there was there, from the E string to the D string, both A notes. Now that shape there is known as a tritone. These are all concepts that you can really write down and keep it in a file. I've got a file that thick. When I relearned guitar the last 8 years, I wrote everything down because I did not know any theory. I used to play by lifting a needle on a record or putting in a cassette, then the tape got all jammed. Remember those days? If you were my age, if you're not, ask your grandfather. Okay, this blues note. So when they were playing blues, A minor pentatonic scale that you'll get to know well. But a blues scale merely adds that flat fifth interval. Now that one there and that one there, that's the octave of it. There at the 8th fret. So at the 6th fret and the 8th fret. In an A minor context, it's an E flat note. That's relevant to an, because that's E. There's your power, A power chord. There's your flat fifth. That's your A5. You know, rock. You know, listen to groups like Black Sabbath, and then that's what they're doing. And they're using those chords, power chords, in the early 70s especially. It was huge, you know, riff music. Okay, so now, but blues artists, so now you've got 6 notes in the scale, because you only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to 1, 2. When I add that note, I've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Okay. Interesting, eh? The way we used to play, coming out of an E minor. So I went from there to there without knowing what I was doing those days, because I'm playing what they call the E minor pentatonic extended scale. 2 notes per string. I'm cheating a bit because I'm into the 3-finger stuff now. See, I've got my E, my minor third, and I'm playing an A, which is the 4th. Let me not confuse you, but I'm taking you into the deep end here. Right, so you go to get your chart of accounts and you learn a few chords. You know how to strum, and I've shown you a few different techniques. I'll run through the chords. A B, probably the most difficult one when you're a beginner, but I'll explain what's going on in a moment. A C, this is what we call cowboy chords. A D, or open chords. An E, most difficult one for beginners. An F, because you bind those first 2 strings. You'll find it'll cause a lot of tension in your wrist. When it does that, go like that, walk away, come back to it. Don't just keep at it. Each note must be clear, and it's a root 5 chord in this shape because you're only playing from the A string. That's why the 5th string, that's why they call it root 5. And if I play it in a 6-string version, it's known as a root 6 chord. That's drawing from jazz, but just accept that for now. If you're playing 6 strings, and when you're playing a D, you're only playing from the D string. You're playing only 4 strings, the bottom 4. As I say, we call them cowboy chords, so you play it like that as well. Same thing. It might be quite handy when you play it like that. I'll show you why now. Because there's D, there's E, there's F, there's G. These are called triads. I'm really playing 3 notes. F, E, D. You know it like that, but you can play it like that. Now I'm going to play a 4-finger version with the F sharp in the bass. Now I taught you about intervals. There's a D note. D, E, F sharp. Wow. So F sharp is the major 3rd interval. But let me tell you now, a major chord consists of 3 notes. Any chord. Well, not chords with extensions, but I'll explain extension in a moment. Chords are 3 notes. D is 1, is the root. The major 3rd interval, because we're playing a major chord, is F sharp, and the perfect 5th. Now you go count it. D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my A. Now I'm playing the open D, a root 4 chord, because I'm playing 4 strings. I'm playing, in terms of the national numbering system, I'm playing notes 1, 3, and 5. And that's always true. You go find a D. 1, F sharp, 3. So that's a major third interval. Getting deep here. And you're looking for an A, and it sits there. But you've already used it. You've got to find another one, so you could put it there. That's an unorthodox way of playing a D, or you could play it like that. D, A, F sharp, there's a D again. So, there's a D, a power chord in an A format. Look at this. Because when you play an A chord down here, there's your A, there's your E, which is the perfect fifth. You go count it out from your A note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is E, A power chord. E, A, and a C sharp. A, B, C sharp. The major third. There's your A. Now, when you're playing that A like that, consider this thing here known as the nut, this white piece of plastic, is the nut. It's causing the strings to end there effectively. If I move it up to B, which we started with telling you about earlier, there's your B power chord. But it's a root 5 chord because you're only playing from the A string down. Because when you play A, you're only playing root 5. You don't sound the top string when you play A. You play a root 5 from the A string downwards. And then the B. So that's how I played. And you get it like that. You bind those 3 D, G, and B strings. Consider an E chord. You play it like that, cowboy style, an E chord. 1, 3, and 5 notes of the major scale. Start on E major, count 1, 3, and 5, and you'll have E major. Once again, your nut's there, imaginary nut. You just put in your finger there, it's imaginary nut. I want to play F. See, I'm putting my nut in place on the first fret because that's an F note on the E string. G, A, B flat, or A sharp, and C. Back to B, and back to A. A minor, because I'm making the major third a minor third, also known as a 10th. Because 3 plus 7, because you're in the next register, the next octave, when you go below the D string, you're in the next horizontally. This is what I refer to as horizontal. You're in the next octave. So you add 7 to the note. So C sharp is the third note. 3 plus 7 is 10. Gives you your major. Minor third, you reduce the major third by a half step or semitone, and you've got minor. A major, A minor. And those chords, whatever, when you play the E-shaped bar chord, whatever the note is on the E string dictates the name of the chord. F, F sharp, or G flat, G, G flat. And when you lift the middle finger, it makes it a minor, A flat minor, or G sharp minor, A major, A minor, B minor. Huge amount of information you got now. And next you want to know what chords go together. Well, you've probably heard that's what we call a 12-bar blues turnaround. I'm playing in E major. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Then I'm playing A. I'm playing the fourth. 1, 4. The fourth chord in E major is an A. And I'm playing back to the 1. And guess what? I go to the B. You know, Rock Around the Clock Tonight, all those rock songs. That was a B to an E major is a fifth. Now, well, guess what progression you've just played? 1, 4, 5. That's a 1, 4, 5 progression. Now you know what they're talking about. When you play in C, common chords you'll use with C are the minor 6. Count from C to A, 6. But there's a theory behind that. Because you got C, D minor, E minor, you got F, G, A minor, B diminished, I don't want to confuse you now, and then back to C. Write those things down. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, back to where you started. So when you play a progression in C, 1, C is your root, minor 6, A minor, minor 2, D minor, 5th, G, C, 1, first chord, minor 6, minor 2, major 5th. Write it on a chart for yourself, and you can play in any other key and use exact same sequence, and those are the common chord progressions. Get you started. House of the Rising Sun. Just to give you an idea, you see how my strumming's changing to suit the song there. You all want to do this. What do you want to do? I knew you want some Deep Purple. I'm going to do a Deep Purple video after this, by the way. How to play 3 Deep Purple songs. That's what I cut my teeth on when I was 14 and 15. The second album I ever bought was Made in Japan by Deep Purple, released in 1973. Smoke on the Water. Just don't play it in your local music store, you'll get kicked out. It's what you call riffs. I'll do it with one hand, one finger. Because you always wanted to do that, didn't you? Okay, so you got a D4, because you're playing a D and the note below it is a 4th, and then you're playing an F and a G. D4, G4, F4, G4, G sharp 4 to G4. Have fun with it. Now you know what's happening there. As I said, Kansas, carry on my wayward son. Single string riffs that were made famous, I think that was 72, Golden Earrings, Radar Love. I used to cover that about 8 years ago. I used to jam to the record through a PA system, myself and a bass guitarist. And I tell you, it sounded damn awesome. I used to put these big Jimmy Page style wigs on, rather Robert Plant or Brian May style wigs, and then used to call them wig gigs. It was great fun. I was younger then. You can have a lot of fun with music. I've given you a lot of concepts here, whether you realize it or not. It's been all over the show, but remember what I said earlier, no beginning, no end. You've learned to strum, you've learned national numbering system, you've learned how to play a few chords, bar chords, minor, major, you learned about octaves, you've learned about the 12 notes in an octave, and if that guitar string was long enough, it would go into the heavens. That's probably the reason why we love music, because it's just vibrations, you know. These strings are just vibrating, giving off. Eventually you won't hear, the human ear won't be able to hear the sound. You learn that making music is coming out of your brain, not out of your hands. Those are just the levers, and your arms. You tap your foot along, get rhythm, because teach yourself off rhythms. Play with a metronome, and don't always start on 1. Sometimes it's 1, 2, 1, 2. You follow? Syncopate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You follow? These are important concepts. When you're playing lead solos, I'm going to demonstrate in my next video on Deep Purple, you use odd note groupings like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's sort of odd note groupings. Those are called pull-offs. You hit the string and pull off to the minor third. You see that? From the minor third to the root. And if I hit it, I'm hammering on. That's when you start soloing, but you'll get there. I taught you about minor pentatonic scales. I taught you about the blues note, the devil's note, the tritone. I've taught you all these things in this 45 minutes, 43 minutes now on the clock. And I've taught you different shapes. I've taught you how you use the imaginary nut to go up chord sequences. I've taught you about triads. I've taught you how to name a chord. I've taught you how to name a minor chord. If you want to play a 7th, you just add the 7th interval. So if I was playing A major and I'm adding a G note. Now G is the flat 7th. You now know that because it's 2 notes below A, right? On your thick E string here, you go back 2. If you go back 2, it's a flat 7th, otherwise known as a minor 7th. So when I play A major, and you'll hear that a lot in the cowboy style, and I add a G, that's an A dominant 7th. And what I was doing in the intro was Old Man. That's a cowboy chord D, E, F. I was playing F, but I'm adding that to an F, which is an open E string, which makes it a F major 7th. And you get that. And it's a root 4th chord because I'm only picking from the D string downwards. And then I'm going to a D. Now I'm going to teach you something quickly. You know that that's a D, that's an A, which is the 5th note of the D major scale, and that's the major 3rd. When I add a G, I'm going from the F sharp, which is the major 3rd, and I'm going up 1. What does that give you? 4. So that's what they call D suspended 4th. When I add the punky to that G, which is 1/2 step away from the major 3rd, it becomes a 4th interval, right? So D suspended 4th, and then I'm going from the major 3rd back 2 notes. F sharp is, I'm playing a suspended 2nd. So D suspended 2, D suspended 4, D suspended 2. Now you've learned, known as sus, S-U-S chords. practice. When you play in a C, open position, you can add the fifth, the G note there. And you can play root 5 from the A string down in open, or you can put the G in the bass. Things for you to practice. Get used to these movements. I'm adding an A. I'm adding an A to a C major, which makes it C6. You can have a lot of fun. And later you're going to get into chords like this. So when you complain about playing an F chord, there's going to be a lot of contortionist chords later. I have got lessons on some of them. Maybe when I play it right for you, you'll recognize it. But I'm still learning. Good luck with your journey. Follow me. I have a very informal presentation style, very amateur-like, but a huge amount of information. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm reasonably successful in what I do. I was a correspondence student in total for 11 years, but I achieved a 5-year qualification in 6 years part-time correspondence, working off a railway station, I'll add, where I did my studies, and then in a full-time job in a Big 4 accounting firm. I qualified as a chartered accountant, to be honest, and within 18 months of qualifying, I founded my own business on my 286 computer in 1993, and I'm now living on a different continent, and I've acquired 2 practices in this country with varying degrees of success with them. I'm 65 years old. Some people tell me I look okay still, in January that is, and the 20th of January if you want to send me some wishes next year, then I know you've been watching this far. This is going to turn out to be a 50-minute video, but as I say, most of my videos are a lot shorter, but there's a huge amount of information here. I'd urge you to rewatch it, sit with pen and paper, write down, listen very carefully to what I've said. And I'm not a genius or anything, but I know what it feels like to be self-trained. I'm self-trained in my career, and I'm self-trained on this instrument. And if you look at some of my jams, where I'm performing with a loop pedal, and a drum machine, electronic drum machine, and then sometimes when you'll see there'll be 3 or 4 of us in the room, 3 or 4 times a year. Sometimes you'll catch my wife on the drums, or my little 7-year-old grandson. He's been tapping on the tub since he was 18 months. And my little granddaughter is 20 months older. She's shown very keen interest in drums. She's got a little miniature drum kit upstairs, and she knocks the hell out of it. So we can have an interesting family in the next 10 years, I can tell you that. It's already very interesting. I mean a lot of good to all of you, and honestly, I cannot stress enough to you. Take me serious. If you concentrate, what I've said will make sense to you. I've got 4 seconds. Wish you well in your career and your musical journey. Thanks for viewing.